I love my life, I love my life, I love my life. This is my mantra as I drive along the winding roads of our island home to pick up Robin from the ferry. Robin, my husband of 17 years, works out of town for as long as a month, then comes home for a week or so. My work schedule fortunately gives me the flexibility to be entirely available for fun when he returns. Tomorrow we will go camping in our 4x4 truck and camper down an old logging road on Vancouver Island. The peace and tranquility is shared only with the elk, birds, bears, and cougars. Wilderness camping in luxury. I ritually get to the ferry a little bit early, waving to Robin and welcoming home as the ferry docks. I feel so fortunate after all these years to have not let ourselves take the other person for granted, and we enjoy each other's company to the fullest. I have to admit, it's not all rainbows and pixies, because there are definitely some things on the return that I dread. For example, his laundry, the mess that inevitably accompanies Robin, the copious amounts of food and dirty dishes, but most of all, the snoring. We don't even sleep in the same room, and his snoring will keep me awake now until he goes back to camp. But these things all make up Robin, and I love this man. As the ferry pulls up, I can see Robin is tired from the journey and the long stint of work, but he smiles and his long arm lifts high into the air and waves to me from the ferry deck. I can never get enough of looking at this man, 6'4", with long hair and a grin that makes any woman weak in the knees. He makes his way up the walkway, pulls his luggage. I can see that he is exhausted, but as soon as he gets to the top of the ramp, he puts down his luggage and gives me one of those amazing hugs. Robin has hugging perfected. His long arms envelop me, embrace me completely, and instantly I feel his love pour into me. Exhaustion from the journey and a month of working hard makes a quiet drive home. Robin showers and gets into bed, and as soon as he enters the house, I do his laundry and get everything ready to go camping tomorrow. As the sun comes up, we head to our spot. After 3 hours, we arrive at Robin's target shooting oasis. We get the camper all leveled off, targets set up, and Robin starts a campfire. This is why I love camping. I sit by the fire all day, reading as he shoots. All I have to do is keep reapplying the wood to the flames. We keep it low maintenance, so we can look forward to returning with ease. We eat an unhealthy diet of Smokies on a bun, fruit, potato chips, and some chocolate. Robin drinks beer and I drink juice. It is lovely. There is no one around but us. We laugh. A lot. Robin sleeps to recharge his batteries, and I read and write. After returning home, we are going to spend some time in Victoria with our daughter, Dominique, and our 1-year-old grandson, Xavier. Sometimes we stay at Dominique's, but mostly we stay in a hotel, so it feels more like a vacation. It is so nice just wandering around the city and watching Xavier explore. Our family has had some rough patches in the past, but the hardships we endured have made us a tight-knit little family that includes Robin, Dominique, Xavier, and myself. Of course, we have extended family, but this is our family. We know each other so well, and we love each other in spite of our differences and shortcomings. When in Victoria, our trip always includes a visit to the Chinese restaurant, where we watch Robin devour copious amounts of food in enlightening speed. If he isn't tired, we head to another restaurant where we watch him passionately consumes another meal. Most of our income goes to feeding Robin, so when he is working at camp, where they include the food, it's a big financial bonus. Everyone enjoys watching Robin eat or feeding him. It's always a cook's pleasure to see someone enjoy their labor so passionately, especially when they've gone to a lot of effort to prepare it. When Robin licks his plate at the end of a meal, it is like getting a gold star. I gained 20 pounds instantly after we got married. I told Robin I had to cut back, so I didn't keep gaining weight. To assist me in my weight loss, he made a curry and said, "Charlene, I made this low fat for you. I only put in a 1/4 cup of butter." Yes, this is low fat in Robin's books, but his food tastes so good, I can't help but eat it. So I'm plump, happily married woman. Robin prefers me this way, with some fat on my bones, so why fight it? Another thing we do when Robin is home is drink wine and think up another idea for one of his crazy videos to post on his YouTube channel. His mind is so out there, and his ideas are so absurd. We laugh and laugh. We laugh about the things he did in camp with his coworkers. We laugh about the things I did while he was away, and we laugh about our new ideas. Robin doesn't take life seriously. Life is just simple, easy, and fun. When I start to nag Robin about something he has done or something I want him to do, he says, with a laugh, "I'm laughing to reduce stress." It usually works, but not always. Trying to figure out how Robin's brain works and why and how he does the stuff he does drives me absolutely insane. For example, why, when I open the linen cupboard, is there an empty beer can there? What on earth was going through his mind that this was a good place to put his beer can? It drives me crazy trying to figure out what and where he puts things. I have no idea, after 17 years, how his brain works. But at the same time, I love his brain. When we got married, we both quit our jobs, working and living together 24/7 on his metal art business. I love seeing his thoughts come to life. I remember when I said, "You should make a CD rack." I'm thinking in my brain vertical and horizontal lines and slots for CDs, much like a IKEA CD rack. Instantly, the wheels in his brain started to churn, and I could see his thinking in process. Excitedly, he said, "Yes, I will make a skeletal structure of a snake, and each rib will hold a CD." It is amazing to me whose brain works this way. I made another suggestion to make a chandelier, and he made an octopus with each tentacle holding a candle. It was fantastic. The only thing we ever argue about is him taking care of himself. I sure wish he wouldn't eat so much fat in his diet. Plus, he drinks alcohol, he smokes, and he drinks the worst kind of coffee you can imagine. He takes about 3 tablespoons instant coffee, 3 tablespoons sugar, and 3 tablespoons water, and then swigs it back. He does this many times a day to give him instant energy. He has made it for people to try, and they have told me that they feel like they're going to have a heart attack because his heart is beating so quickly. I get so upset. I yell and tell him if he doesn't take care of himself, he will die and leave me here alone. If he really loved me, he would want to live a long, healthy life with me. I couldn't imagine life without Robin, as he is my life, my love, and my future. I always tell Robin, if anything ever happened to him, I would never marry again, for 3 reasons. 1, I know how much work it has been to have a relationship, and it takes constant energy every single day. 2, there would never be anyone that could replace him, as he is so unique. And 3, I'm fulfilled and happy with the rest of my life, and I wouldn't want to change it. I'm fortunate. I have great friends that have been part of my life even before I was married. I have hobbies I love and I get inspired by, and I'm connected to my community through volunteering and work. I really love my life. I love being a mom and a grandma. I adore my nephews and nieces and extended family. I'm truly a blessed woman. I said it before, and I'll say it again. I love my life. Then the worst thing possible did happen. Robin died. I couldn't even believe it happened. I went through the whole process of grieving in a fog. My life was altered forever. I wrote this on my Facebook. It is with the deepest sadness that we announce the passing of Robin Gabbard, a most cherished son, husband, father, and grandfather, uncle, and best friend. When someone with such an amazing spirit walks the earth, it feels impossible to say goodbye. He was loving, generous, crazy, fun, and he had an amazing sparkle that shone so brightly. One of his favorite sayings was, "Leave them wanting more," and he definitely did that. Robin never left things unsaid. For this, we are eternally grateful. Our love for Robin will never fade. There will be a celebration of Robin's life at Bader's Beach on February 15th, 2014 at 4:30 p.m. Bring along a chair and a piece of wood to put on the fire, and we will share stories of Robin and his hilarious antics as the sun goes down. Of course, life went on, even though I thought this extreme sadness was going to go on forever, and this feeling of widowhood I carried with me would never end. My life became boring and dull without Robin. As I got past the initial trauma, I went back to work. I got to a point where I wasn't crying every day anymore. I had an underlying feeling of loss all the time, but everyone said this was normal. There would be a hole in my heart for the rest of my life. I got to the point where I was functioning and wanted to know where I was going next. So after a year and a half, I got on a plane and headed to the Camino, a centuries-old pilgrimage to the remains of St. James and Santiago's Compostela, in the north end of coast of Spain. I set out in hopes that I could figure out what I was going to do with my life. This was not easy for me. The longest I'd ever been away from home was 10 days. I was terrified of getting homesick. The only way I could get on the plane was to give myself permission to come home if the journey was too difficult. Change has never been something that I create. Instead, it is something that is thrust upon me. I tend to stay in the same circumstances forever and never leave. So as much as my life was boring, it wasn't that bad, so I doubted my need for a pilgrimage. The problem was the underlying pain I felt was so unbalanced compared to before Robin died. I had to do something, as the pain was not my norm. I have always been easily happy. I had to go. I needed to find something to get me back to those feelings of happiness, because this was no way of living. When I lost Robin, I lost my future. I wondered if this pain would dissipate, if I could map out a new future for myself and get back to the happy track. I started on the border of France and Spain, in the middle of a little town, Saint-Jean-de-Pierre-de-Port, on a journey to find out where I was going on the next phase of my life. Where do I go from here was what I wanted to discover. I have to learn how to walk away from the life I love or loved, but it feels so hard, so impossible, because every ounce of my being wants to be back there, where I was, where I used to be, loving life. I have to learn to walk away from a life I love. This is my goal.